Hi, and welcome to Bournemouth University. My name is Ellen, and today we're going to discover the course of social work. If you're thinking of studying social work, this documentary is for you. Today we're going to see a snippet of what it's like to be a social work student at Bournemouth University. First of all, let's see what inspired the students to study social work.
So I'd been a support worker for quite a long time, and I really enjoyed getting to know the people I'd supported, but I felt that there was more I could do. So I stumbled across social work, just looking for different jobs that would help me do more for the people I was working with.
So I'm a mature student, so I came to university when I was 25, and it was a bit of a career change. I think social work I hadn't thought about it a lot, but a couple of people suggested it to me, and I sort of started looking into it and saw how sort of broad it was, and how there's a lot of scope in social work to do a lot of different things.
I think it was when I met my partner. So we've been together 6 years, and she had a really rough childhood, and she was placed in a household where she wasn't looked after, wasn't cared for, and the system failed her. I wanted to do what I can to help other people. I don't want other children to be in the same situation where they've got no one fighting their corner.
I had some time working abroad, like for a charity, and I was just inspired by the work they did, and I sort of wanted to do something that helps people.
So my siblings, I grew up with them, and they had physical and mental disabilities. So I had a lot of experience of social workers and carers and that kind of element of social care from an early age.
Let's now meet the team and see what inspired them.
I was studying engineering, and I was very unhappy with studying engineering and feeling that's not quite for me. And at that point I was already working with people with learning disabilities, and I had done some community service over in Germany with children with disabilities. And I actually really enjoyed that. I never thought of that being a career, because I always wanted to become an engineer.
I'm not sure if it was inspired or whether it happened by accident, actually. So my first degree was in psychology, and whilst I was at university I did quite a lot of voluntary work with Mind. I was a volunteer for the university phone line. So I guess the elements were there, although I perhaps wasn't aware that social work was going to be a career for me.
It was a bit accidental. I can't say that it was particularly planned as a career, but it was after I had my daughter, my child, and I wanted to then progress into sort of caring for others. I was quite a natural carer, I suppose.
I think with my own life experience and work experience, I appreciate that life is quite tricky for a lot of people. And having experienced some of those harder life situations, it's made me appreciate actually that there are ways of supporting and guiding people, and making life a little bit easier and enhancing well-being.
When I was at university doing my degree, I was doing lots of volunteer work just through the student union, and I just saw that as something that I did in my spare time, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do as a career. And then I realised actually social work opens all of those doors. You can work in the community, you can work with all sorts of different groups, and for me I quite liked the fact that it didn't tie me down to one area.
What different domain of social work do the students want to go into next?
Primarily adults with learning disabilities. I think they're often misunderstood and kind of treated in a childlike manner.
I'm leaning towards foster and adoption. Yeah, I think it's quite a wholesome area to go in to be able to help young individuals who have had quite serious circumstances, to be able to help them kind of find a place where they can thrive.
I'm still not 100% sure, but I'm quite interested in working with sort of asylum seekers.
How has the course changed the definition of social work for the students?
My idea of a social worker was skewed because I've had social workers involved in my family, and a lot of the term, and I think society knows it as child snatchers, and that sort of was passed down the family. Now that I'm aware of what social work is and what we do as social workers, it's more of just a caring role.
I think before I started the course, I thought that social workers only really worked with children and families, and it was more about child protection and sort of taking children away from their families. Now that I've done the course, I realise it actually reaches so many different sort of areas in society, so working with like older people or people with disabilities or substance use problems, so it's definitely more extensive than I thought.
But now the best way I can describe it is an advocate, but a really skilled advocate who has like a whole toolkit of what to do and how to help people and how to use the law and how to use different communication skills.
Why did the team enjoy working at the U?
Oh, it's probably been the best group of people I've ever worked with, as it happened. My colleagues challenge me, make me think, give me new ideas, and it's just a pleasure.
So I absolutely love my contact with students. I just find teaching really engaging. The nature of the way we teach is about sharing ideas and developing ideas and really kind of developing personally and professionally.
I love working with young people and I love working and learning. I'm still learning very much as a social worker, and offering practice education enables me to learn and develop and keep very current in my social work practice.
So I've now been at the university, and I'm going to make myself sound like I'm 100, but I've worked at the university now for 27 years. I suppose what I enjoy now is developing the next generation of researchers.
What did the students enjoy most about the course at Bournemouth University?
When we're in class and when we're talking about a case study and we just kind of have the space to really honestly talk about it and kind of challenge our assumptions with it. And there was, in particular, one case study we looked at, we were then invited to kind of ask questions, and we kind of explored using different types of questions, and that was really helpful because we kind of got things wrong together and then got things right together, and just kind of that inclusive learning and learning from each other. That's kind of some of my favourite times.
I've actually found like learning about kind of the theories and the psychosocial background of social work's been quite interesting, sort of, and how then that informs how you understand people and their behaviour. I think starting the course I didn't think I was into the more academic side of it, but actually the way it's been taught has been really interesting, and I've learned a lot.
I think the engagements that we have with amongst the students, is the aspect I would enjoy the most, because it's a small group, so everyone knows each other.
How has the course been transformative for the students?
I think it's made me grow in confidence in my own sort of academic skills, and also just in kind of being in a professional setting.
I think it's allowed me to realise some of my potential. I think it's certainly made me a lot more confident than I was coming into it, and I now believe I'm capable of doing a career like this.
I feel more confident and capable in my abilities as a person and what I can offer than I ever have done before. And the course really challenges you to know yourself, because I think through knowing yourself and what you can offer somebody else is the best way to help other people in that sense. So I've enjoyed it so much, and I've just never been more excited about who I am and my future because of the course.
Yeah, 100%. It's eye-opening from what I was like at day one to now. My opinions, my views and belief have actually changed, and I think it's very valuable to do that because you start questioning yourself.
How and why did they choose Bournemouth University?
I knew I would be doing social work, so I looked at some of the best universities in the country for that, and Bournemouth was at the top of every list.
Here at the university, we know all of the lecturers, they're all fantastic. They will sort of help you with whatever it is that you need help with.
So there's a sense in which a lot of the lecturers here at Bournemouth have been involved very recently or are still involved in some form of practice. So it's not just an academic, dry kind of knowledge based on 30 years ago when they once did something. This is stuff they live and breathe.
And I got an unconditional at Bournemouth Uni, so I didn't even attend the Solent one. I just said, yeah, I want to go here. And the fact that I met some of the lecturers beforehand really helped.
I didn't realise how wonderful a place Bournemouth was until I kind of came and studied here. But I'm so glad I did. But it was mainly location.
At Bournemouth University, you get 2 6-month placements. Let's see how it went for the students.
My first placement could not have gone better, from the placement itself to the support I received academically. they do put a lot of time into matching you with a placement that suits you, and that was evident to me on my first few days of placement. There was also a lot of communication from the teaching team while we're out on placement. I thought it would kind of be a, we're off on placement, we're no longer doing lectures, they're not going to kind of be around, be accessible, but they are very supportive along the way.
I think it's really sort of challenged me, sort of what I learn in the classroom versus what is reality.
Social work really helps with providing placements within children and adult services so that you're getting the opportunity to experience both.
How did the academic learning help them throughout placement?
It really helped, because in those times where it was more challenging, or maybe there was a difference of opinion, the academic learning and the knowledge that we got here really informed what I was doing. So it wasn't just kind of a gut feeling or I think things should be this way. I kind of felt like I had a whole body of evidence that was like, this is really how things should be. This is really how we should treat people.
I think we joked about it before our placements that like, oh, we probably won't actually use this in our placements. And then we get to placements and we're like, actually, this is entirely relevant and really, really helpful.
You start using theories you've been taught almost subconsciously and not actively realising that you're using the knowledge you have been building up in first year in your second year placement.
Other than placement, another way you'll be prepared for your career is through the peer partnership. The peer partnership is where members of the community come in and share their experience. Here is Peter Atkins to explain how it works.
We get a request that comes in initially for an education request from an academic, and then that information is on a form that's shared by us to peer members, and we identify people that would fit that role and are available on those dates. They then link up with the academics and talk about the session beforehand. Sometimes we have profiles that are given to the students before the actual session takes place, so they've got a bit of information about the service users and carers, and then we coordinate them coming in. Peer member is a member of the public who they could be working, they could be not working, could be on benefits, they can be a carer, so that's a family member or friend looking after somebody, or they can be a service user, so somebody with a diagnosis themselves. We've obviously got a wide variety of carers and service users, from mental health, drug and alcohol, Parkinson's, learning disabilities, physical disabilities.
Finally, I asked them what advice they would give to future students.
Take the opportunity to find out more about it, to ensure that it is right for you, and then just if that's what you decide and you know it is, make use of all the resources that are available within whichever university, but certainly Bournemouth University has wonderful resources. But also within the profession, so building those good networks of colleagues and peers and the support that's available to enable you to do it well. Yeah.
I talk a lot to kind of prospective students, open days and interview days, and do you know, a lot of it is it's finding how you can be true to your values and why you want to go into social work. So you learn such a lot on the course that really broadens your thinking and develops your knowledge and develops your skills, but you still want to be you and who you are and bring your personality and your character to the role, because that's how you make connections with people.
Working with people is endlessly fascinating, but also can be frustrating, can be difficult and challenging, but I don't think there's anything else that I can think is better to do as a career, because what you're focused on is enhancing well-being, improving people's lives, supporting people in very challenging situations. You're working with individuals, you're working with communities, but actually social work is also a political activity. So it's important that we see ourselves both as activists as well as change makers.
I would say if you're interested in humans, if you're interested in society, and I think also if you're interested in trying to challenge some of the social inequalities that are entrenched in current society, then social work is a career for you, really.
But the great thing about as a social work, it's demanding, but it's enormously rewarding. We've got an incredible, exciting job. I've been very privileged. You know, I've been working with people since, it won't include my time in the Royal Air Force, but I was a medic then. Since 1957, I've been working with people. And that's a wonderful privilege.
You can really be confident in making a choice in terms of where you want to go with your career. I still think it's an awesome profession, and there are going to be lows, highs and lows, and when you are hitting a low, it probably tells you something about having a bit of a calm down, take a quick break somewhere, but don't despair, it will get better. And it's just an awesome profession, I have to say.
I hope this video has been helpful towards your decision to study social work. We hope to see you next year here at Bournemouth University.